Hello, and welcome to Lynne and Craig's English stream live. We're here to help you with your English. And if it's your first time watching, my name's Craig from mansioningles.com, where if you're a Spanish speaker, you can get help for studying English. And I also do a podcast with my friend Reza, and you can find that at inglespodcast.com or wherever you listen to your podcasts. And if you're interested in improving your speaking, which you may do, with summers coming up, you might be traveling, you might be going abroad, you want to speak a bit more fluently, then go to englishcraig.com. Let's get it right. Go to englishcraig.com and you can book a 10-minute consultancy with me and I will give you more information. New courses are starting very soon for June. So if you want to improve your speaking fluency, then go ahead and book a quick Zoom call with me.
Yeah, a very good idea to brush up before you start using your English on holiday, isn't it? Yeah,
it is. That's the time of year. If you're lucky enough to be going away, then maybe you need to speak English while you're traveling. Joining me over there, my good friend Lynne from putitlikethis.com. Don't be fooled by cheap imitations. Hi, Lynne.
Hello, Craig. Hi. So hello, everyone. My name is Lynne, for those people who are joining for the first time tonight. And I'm like Craig, I'm also an English teacher. Craig and I used to be colleagues for many years, didn't we?
We still are.
We still are, yes, but more loosely, our collaboration now. And and now I'm an online teacher exclusively. And Put It Like This is my website. I tend to offer my courses are really tailor-made. So people come to me with a specific objective. Maybe it's to pass an exam, or maybe they're using their English because they're having to teach through the medium of English, or maybe they're in business and they need English for their jobs. Lots of different reasons, but each person has their own objectives. So basically I make the course to try to help them fulfill that specific objective. So if you're interested, you can go to my website. You can also contact me over the website if you want to.
Putitlikethis.com. That's the place to go. Putitlikethis.com. Now, if you are watching live on YouTube, on Facebook, or on LinkedIn, please say hello and hi in the chat. Let us know that you are watching. Tell us where you're from. Let's say hello to Gemma, who is back with us. Hi, Gemma.
Hi, Gemma. Well. Nice to see you again.
Hope things are going well in Madrid for you.
Yeah. I think it's getting quite hot in Madrid, isn't it? It's really hot here in Valencia today. So I'm sure that in Madrid, it's getting hotter.
It's getting it's warming up. It's getting warm. Yeah. If you're watching the replay, wherever you are in the world, thanks for watching. We hope you find this English live stream useful. This week, we're going to be talking about jobs, but not any kind of jobs. Recently, you've probably been hearing about artificial intelligence coming to take away our jobs. And we thought it would be fun to look at some vocabulary and discuss a little about weird and wonderful, unusual jobs that we can do and that we can discuss. So we've got a question for you to kick things off. What's the weirdest or most unusual job you have ever done? Let's hear from you. Write your answers in the chat and tell us the strangest job or the most unusual job that you have ever done. Now, we were chatting for a few minutes before we went live. Lynne thinks she hasn't done any jobs that have been particularly unusual. Is that right, Lynne?
Yes, I don't think so. I mean, I've done jobs that are maybe that I found unusual for me, but they're quite normal jobs, I suppose. I think one of the most unusual jobs I did do was possibly when I was a student. And I had a job working in a bar, which a lot of people have, I think, when they're students. But I was working in a bar on a Saturday or a Sunday evening in a hotel. And this hotel was a bit of a strange hotel because they had sometimes my work involved working behind the bar on wedding events, for example. Yeah, they had weddings there. And so I was working behind the bar with all the guests, and the guests were having the dance and all of that. That was kind of like, I would say, normal and expected. Yeah. And they also had the hotel bar. Sometimes I used to work behind the hotel bar, which was near reception. That was also very standard and normal. But this hotel also had an underground disco. So there was a disco that was in the basement. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't really a very popular disco anymore in the city. I don't know if years before it had been, but occasionally, once every month, on two Sundays every month, they used to rent out this space to particular group of people. And they were mods one Sunday and rockers the other Sunday.
You better explain what they are. I don't know if people know what
how do we explain
mods and rockers
are? I mean, this was in the 80s, and mods and rockers were really from the 70s, weren't they? And
it kind of based around music, wasn't it? Because the mods used to be into particular kind of music like The Who, and Enrique is watching us in the chat. He can probably help me with music genres. The mods had a particular dress code as well, whereas the rockers would be more into American
They were more
rock.
like American rock and roll. So so anyway, one Sunday, and the thing is, mods and rockers didn't like each other, did they? In England,
no, they used to fight.
They used to fight. So one Sunday was the mods, and one Sunday was the rockers. And it was the weirdest nights when I had to work there, because I used to have to start at about 8 o'clock, but nobody would come to the disco until 10 o'clock. And I was sitting in this black cavernous space, like a cave. And I used to be actually doing my studies for university. I remember reading my Shakespeare plays from 8 until 10. And then at 10 o'clock, these people would start coming in. And the mods used to do pogo dancing. So they used to have the music on and they used to jump up and down vertically.
Yeah.
And this was not like my cup of tea at all. So I was standing there all very prim behind the bar, and all these guys were going crazy and jumping into each other and things.
Was there any trouble? Were there any violence? Was there any violence or any fights in there?
But it was always men. There were no women there. Yeah. So there was just like the whole disco was just these men mods pogoing up and down. And then the following week, it was all rock and roll with these people with their hair all like rolled up and the denim jackets. And they were dancing to their sort of rock and roll music. But again, no women. No women at all. It was super odd. So that was I guess that's the most unusual job I've ever done. But it was easy because I had 2 hours where I was paid and I could do my homework from university. And then another 2 hours where I had to work, but it wasn't really a problem. But I stayed behind the bar because it was really weird. I was the only woman and there was all these guys.
That's a very unusual job. As Enrique said, it's part of what urban tribes used to be. Yeah, identifying with music. The punk era is another one. Yeah, urban tribes.
He says he'd love to go. But to which one? The mods or the rockers?
They were very popular. My dad used to be a rocker. Well, they called them Teddy Boys. He used to be
Teddy Boys. That's it. Yes, that was it. And they used to wear like pastel colored suits, so they were like bright blue, and they used to have a thin like black lace tie,
long drape jackets. They call
long drape jackets, very long, and like trousers. Yeah, so some of them wore leather jackets, but some of them came in those suits, in those very colored suits.
I was a mod for a brief period, maybe a year. I had a green Parker. I didn't have a Vespa. They were known for driving.
Did you have Vespas. Did you have the target on the back of your?
No, I didn't have the target. I didn't have.
Okay.
I didn't have the fur around. That was considered not very hip, not very
no, trendy
to have the fur around
we
the
better
hoods.
explain to people what a parka is. A parka is like a green, it's a particular
Long
type of
green
rain jacket, isn't it? Winter jacket.
Coat.
Yeah.
If you've seen the film Quadrophenia, then that's what mods are.
That's
Hi,
right.
Vicente. Good to see you. It has been donkey's years. Thank you for joining. If you are joining, let us know that you're watching. And we've got no answers to the weirdest or most unusual job.
Usual jobs.
So
Come on.
we shall move on.
Well, what about yours, Craig? Are you not going to tell us yours?
Well, it wasn't so unusual. When I was young and saving money, one summer I worked in a basement, again, a basement below the first floor of a shop. And my job was sorting hangers. So, you know, when you hang up your clothes in the wardrobe, well, these plastic hangers, my boss used to buy them in big plastic bags, and they were all jumbled and mixed together. So for about 8 weeks during the summer, my job was to sit on a chair in a basement by myself with no windows in this small room. And I used to have to sort out the hangers and put them in groups of 10 with an elastic band and then put them neatly in a box. And I did that for 7 hours a day for 8 weeks.
Wow.
And it drove me mad. It drove me mad.
I mean, sometimes I like those kind of jobs because I think they're kind of repetitive. And if I can do other things while I'm doing them, like listening to podcasts or listening to music, I find that a bit therapeutic. But I don't think I would like to do it for 8 weeks. No, for 8 hours a day or whatever. No,
it was fine for 1 week, and then it got really tedious, really, really boring.
Yes, of course, I bet.
Now that we're kind of into the topic, let's show you a video that we've got prepared. And this video shows you some very strange and unusual jobs. And there's a couple of questions you can think about as you're watching. I'll put them up on the screen for you. Actually, I'll put them in the chat as well, because maybe they will disappear from the screen once the video starts. So the questions are in the chat. Would you be prepared to do any of these jobs? And also in the video, they speak about how much money you get paid, what the salaries are. So do you think the salaries fit the job? Are they the money they're offering or the money they're paying? Do you think it's proportional to what the job entails, what the job is? Okay, so think about those two questions.
Think about those two questions as you're watching. That's right, because we need it to be like a little bit like a listening comprehension as well for you. Okay.
Okay, so let's have a look at these strange and unusual jobs.
Have you ever heard of a job title and automatically wondered if it's a real thing? So have we. So we decided to put together a list of the strangest jobs out there with information on what the job entails and how much they could potentially make. If you want to be blown away, keep watching. Number 1, pet psychologist. Earnings $69,000 per year. Pet psychologists aren't as similar to therapists for humans, so don't imagine a pet sat on the couch while being psychoanalyzed. No matter how amusing that may be, a pet psychologist is actually tasked with monitoring a pet's behavior and identifying its triggers. They then advise pet owners how to correct problematic and destructive behaviors. Number 2, professional cure. Salary can vary. If you don't mind camping out or standing in the rain for hours on end, then you could become a professional cure. You'll be hired to stand in line and wait for a product release or a store to open for someone else. Professional cures can charge what they like. Someone once paid a cure $12,000 to stand in line for an iPhone launch. Number 3, cat catcher. Earnings $80 per cat. If you're a cat owner, then you will know the struggle of trying to get a cat into a pet carrier, which is where these professionals come in. A cat catcher is hired to literally get your cat into a carrier, leaving you scratch-free. Number 4, bed warmer. Earnings $89 per night. Another bizarre role includes warming up people's sheets before they get into bed at night to ensure their bed is nice and toasty. Hotels have even caught on to this trend, with Holiday Inn offering a free 5-minute bed warming session to guests. Number 5, live mannequin. Earnings $100 an hour. Were you good at playing musical statues as a kid? If yes, then you could excel as a live mannequin. People are hired to stand as still as possible in shop windows to show off the latest fashion trends. Number 6, fake wedding guest. Earnings $200 per event. Yes, this is actually a thing. People hire phonies to step in as wedding guests when their numbers are looking low. You'll be hired to step in and pretend like you know the happy couple while participating in the day's events. Number 7, professional bridesmaid. Earnings $1,500. Some people also step in as a bridesmaid in times of need. These professionals are hired to keep other bridesmaids in check and ensure that everything runs smoothly. They may also take on the role of an event planner for an additional fee. Number 8, dog food tester. Earnings $27,500. People are hired to test dog food to make sure they are tasty, nutritious, and safe for their furry friends. If you love your pet that much and don't mind eating jellied meat, then you could earn up to $30,000 a year. Number 9, crisp inspector. Earnings $50,000 per year. Can you think of a more perfect job? Eating crisps for a living is actually a thing. You can spend your days analyzing the size, shape, and taste of crisps to ensure that they are of the finest quality. Number 10, water slide tester. Earnings $27,500 per year. Another fun job includes testing water slides. You'll literally be tasked with rating slides based on their speed, adrenaline levels, and even how much they splash. The best part? You'll get paid to do it. As you can see, there are plenty of wacky jobs that might be worth pursuing. If you're looking for more ideas, head over to careeraddict.com.
Okay. I have got a couple of comments. But what did you think? If you're watching this, would you be prepared to do any of these jobs? Do any attract you? Do any of those jobs appeal to you? And do you think the salaries are appropriate for the jobs involved? What did you think, Lynne?
Well, I thought a couple of them I found really gross.
What do you mean by gross?
Gross means
Disgusting.
when I find it like disgusting or horrible. And the two that I thought were really gross was a bed warmer. I cannot imagine getting into a bed where somebody else who I don't know has been warming it beforehand. I really wouldn't like that. I just think, ew, it gives me the icks.
Yeah, I agree with you. That wouldn't be. Yeah.
I mean, who would want to go into a bed? I mean, when you go to a hotel, you get a clean bed. That's like allowing somebody to dirty your bed first and then you get into it. No thanks. No, I'd rather have a hot water bottle. I think a hot water bottle are those little rubber bottles that you put hot water in. At least that keeps you warm. And the other one that I thought was gross was tasting the dog food. I mean,
yeah, I didn't think the salary fitted the job there, because if you're going to get $50,000 for eating crisps, why would you get half of that for tasting dog food? Doesn't make sense.
True.
Doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
Femma says she didn't have any idea about it. I did not know about most of those either. Cat catcher. I heard of pet psychologists and professional cuers, but the others I didn't know existed.
No,
Enrique said the pet tester, that blew his mind.
Yes, the food tester. Yeah, that was really quite disgusting.
Yeah.
And I don't understand why they need humans to test it. Surely, I mean, they test so many things on animals anyway. I mean, not that I necessarily agree with that.
How do you know if the animals like it and what it tastes?
Well, because they would want to go eat it, wouldn't they?
More.
If you give them 6 bowls and they always go for one particular bowl, then you've got a pretty good idea that it's okay, or that they like it. Another thing is whether it's good for them. But I can't understand why a human. I mean, humans and dogs, surely we have different tastes, don't we? I mean, dogs, according to my daughter, she told me yesterday, dogs eat shit.
Yeah, they do, don't
And
they?
humans
Yeah.
wouldn't do that, would they? So, I mean, I don't understand why.
No.
Sorry? No,
Not
not
willingly.
willingly. No. So why do they think that the human could judge what a dog would like? I don't understand. It seems crazy.
Viniku, I'm sorry. I apologize. I've forgotten your name. You did tell us last time. I know you're
Yeah,
from
I think
Brazil.
that's
I've
I
forgotten.
kept a note. I
Oh,
know
well done.
Vinicius, isn't it?
Vinicius. That's right.
Vinicius,
Vinicius
that's right.
from
Mhm.
Brazil. Experts on professional queuing. They use sandals and flip flops to mark the position on in the queue.
Oh
That's
wow! And then they go home, do they? And then they
come back and somebody's
and
stolen their
take.
sandals.
Well, that would be that would be tempting, wouldn't it?
That would happen in Valencia. Yeah.
Queues are interesting. I know that in the area where I live in Valencia, years ago, they have a theatre that's quite popular. And when the theatre tickets come on sale, they get sold out very quickly because they're quite reasonable in price. So everybody wants to go to the theatre. And I remember when I first came here that people used to have to queue for the tickets all day. The box office would open at 7 p.m, but people started queuing at 9 a.m. But they were groups of friends and they used to take turns. So there would be like, I think everybody was allowed to buy 10 tickets. So maybe there were like 6 friends or 5 friends who wanted 2 each. And the 5 friends used to come for an hour and then they would relieve each other.
Change. Yeah.
And they used to keep changing the place in the queue, and everybody was really polite about it. It was like nobody got cross about it or anything. It was kind of really like standard that this is what is done, and everybody accepted it, you know?
That's really interesting. One thing,
Yeah.
there's a difference in American English. They say to stand in line. In British English, we have a phrasal verb to queue up. So stand in a queue, not on, in a, or to queue up. I've put that in chat for you. So be careful, American and British English difference.
Yeah.
Any other comments here? Let's see. We've got, Vinicius said before, when he was living in Ireland, he decided to work in a fast food restaurant. To put in to practice the language, but it was very hard. Making burgers, shakes, emptying the bins. I would say emptying the bins. I worked in McDonald's when I was about 16 one summer, which I quite enjoyed actually. I thought it was a lot of fun, but I was young. Yeah, it's easier to do when you're young.
Yeah. Yeah.
I did. One thing I wanted to mention: the live mannequin.
Oh, the live mannequin.
$100 an hour is a very good wage. I think I would do that, but you'd have to stay perfectly still. But imagine
if you have to stay perfectly still. I would think that if you didn't stay still, it would probably attract the attention more.
Or if you suddenly moved.
Or if you like move a little bit, or you
Yeah.
smile and you do a twirl, I'm sure that would attract people's attention to the window.
Right.
I don't know. I mean, I think it could be nice, but I guess it would depend on what you had to model. Because imagine you had to model something that wasn't very nice, and then people started to make fun of you. Can you imagine people at the window, or kids,
kids doing that?
Kids doing that all the time. Yeah. Then maybe it wouldn't be easy, And if you had to model, I don't know, bikinis, for example. I don't think they would employ me to model a bikini. But
I don't think they'd employ me either.
But I would feel very self-conscious if people were looking at your body so in detail, like for 8 hours a day. I can imagine that could be quite difficult, because models on a catwalk, the catwalk is that long platform that the models walk on in fashion shows. Literally, the model walks down and then walks back and leaves. But you've got to imagine, how must you feel as a person to stand still for 8 hours and have people looking at you constantly?
Yeah.
I think most people would feel very, I can imagine that being quite a difficult job, actually.
You'd feel
So maybe that's why,
self-conscious, wouldn't you?
maybe that's why they get $100 an hour.
It's good money. It's good money. Hi, Julio. Thank you for joining. Good to see you. Yeah, well, I Googled around a bit because I got curious and I found some more interesting, unusual jobs. Let me put them in the comments section for you. Another one similar to the bed warmer is a professional sleeper, and they test mattresses, which sounds like a job I would enjoy because I'm very lazy. So
no, I think I could do that. I think that
Yeah.
would be reasonable. If you had to, I mean, I suppose, how much do they pay you as a professional?
I didn't go
mattress
into
tester?
I didn't go that deeply into it, but
Yeah.
it sounds interesting. Another one I noticed was a food stylist, and that's the person who makes the food look attractive and perfect before they take photographs.
Oh no, I would like that. I think that could
sounds
be fun.
interesting.
That could be quite creative, couldn't it? You know?
Yeah. Very intricate.
I think that could be, because that's like, it's more artistic, isn't it? It's like creating.
You'd be good at that, Lynne, because you've got a lot of attention for detail. So I think you'd be successful at that job.
I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm not very artistic, though. I've got detail, but like when it comes to colors and things, I'm not really sure whether I would be great at that. But I can imagine it would be interesting. I think that would be interesting.
You're not gonna like the next one.
What's the next one?
Snake milker.
A snake milker.
A snake milker collects the venom for medical research from snakes. So you get the snake, you hold it by the head, and then you have a test tube or a glass beaker, and you press the fangs from the snake on the glass, and then the venom comes out. So it's like milking a cow, but you're like milking a cow. Venom.
Actually, that's just reminded me, that is an unusual job I've done once. I milked cows.
Oh, well, there you see. Yeah,
on a farm. I did do that. So I've just remembered now. I did do that once, and I really enjoyed it, actually. It was really fun.
I've done that job too.
Milking
I
cows,
quite enjoyed it. The only thing I didn't like was waking up at 3 o'clock in the morning to do it. But when I suggested to my boss that we keep the cows up later at night so that they can sleep more in the morning, he didn't like my joke.
He didn't like your joke, no. Well, actually, the downside of the milking cows for me, it wasn't the early start, because I am quite good at getting up early. I could do that. I don't know if I would be good in the long term. Right. I don't know how long I would like getting up that early, but for a few weeks, I think I could do it. But the thing I didn't like about the milking the cows was you had to put on all the protective clothing. And I thought, why are you putting on protective clothing? And then I understood why. And it's because when you actually approach the cow, many of the cows, as soon as you start to milk them, they start to shit.
Yes.
And the shit goes everywhere. And that was the most unpleasant part of it. But at least the good bit was that I was completely hermetically sealed. I had like completely, so when I could take all the protective gear off, I was fine,
The best bit for me was making a coffee and then taking fresh milk from the cow into the coffee. Oh, so good.
Does it taste nice? Does it?
Oh, well, it's so creamy. You can't get fresher than that.
Then no. Do you know, I've never tasted really fresh milk.
You didn't drink any while you were milking?
No, I didn't when I was milking.
Did.
But wow.
Other jobs I noticed: an island caretaker lives on an island and looks after remote islands.
Oh, now I've seen that. There are some islands in Scotland. I can't remember the name of it, but they have to have a caretaker on the island all year round. And they have, I think, 3 cottages on the island that occasionally, In the summer months, people can rent. But the family that lives on the island, it's not just one. It's they usually give the job to a family or a couple. It's usually a couple, not with only with baby children, not school age children, because obviously they can't. And it's completely isolated. You have to get a boat to it, and the boat only comes once every week.
It's
and
very
in the winter,
isolated.
and in the winter, sometimes the boat, if the weather's bad, the boat can't get there. So the people have to be very, very resilient, and there's no electricity and all of that.
Would you like that job?
I think I wouldn't mind trying it. I think it could be a nice little adventure, and to see, I mean, obviously they live in a nice house, and during the day they have to obviously make their food and stay warm, and everything that you normally do probably takes 10 times longer, you know, like washing your clothes, because there's no washing machine and all of this. So I guess like life would take on a different rhythm, but I think I would quite like to try that. And then you can take lots of books with you, and you can read books. I don't think I'd like to be alone, but if I was with my husband, I think I'd quite like it.
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
Yeah, you too. Yeah.
Yeah, I think I would. For a few weeks. Why not? Let's look at some vocabulary now that might help you to talk about unusual jobs and work in general. Now, with job and work, be careful, because work is an uncountable noun. It's a verb to work, as you know. But when you use it as a noun, make sure you use it as an uncountable noun, usually. And job, on the other hand, is a countable noun. So you can have 3 jobs, which means you have a lot of work. Sometimes work can be plural when you speak about a work of art, for example, the works of Picasso. But usually when you're talking about things you do for money, it's an uncountable noun.
And work, I think, is more, because this does cause a lot of confusion between work and job. Job is countable, work is not countable. Work is the activity, but job is the position or the occupation, or the task.
Because raising children is work, but it's not a job. Cleaning the house is work, but it's not a job.
Yes.
Yeah, good point.
Yeah.
Occupation, the things you do. If you want to know what someone's occupation is, the question would be, what do you do? What do you do?
Or what's your job?
Or what's your job? What do you do for a living as well? What do you do for a living? Duties.
Duties. So duties are the individual things within your job position that you have an obligation to do. So, for example, if you're, I don't know, the caretaker of the island, maybe your duties are to keep the other cottages on the island clean, to look after the wildlife. I don't really know what their jobs are. Or to welcome the people when they come, you know, to visit. Maybe that's what the duties are.
Speaking of, we were speaking about unusual jobs before. Vinicius was talking about snakes, because obviously he lives in Brazil, where the rainforest. I don't know, do you live near or in the rainforest, Vinicius? Is it close to you? Because a snake milker is quite normal in Brazil. The government handles the situation, catches snakes, analyzes them, and extracts venom to make anti-venom. Yeah, the antidote. So yeah, obviously. Hey, Priscilla, good to see you. I hope you're well. A foot model, Lynn. What about being a foot model?
Wow. Well, I don't think
you wouldn't want to go near my feet. I tell you that without holding your nose.
Well, you have to have very beautiful feet, don't you, to be a foot model? Yeah, but I don't know whether I would. Would you really like to be just standing there and having your feet photographed all the time? Again, it's got something about like the mannequin. It's the idea of somebody constantly looking at your body, one part of your body.
But that's modeling, isn't it? I mean,
all
models,
the time.
That's what they do.
I suppose
attractive men and women, and they they don't mind it because they probably appreciate their looks.
I think a foot model is probably, for me, I'm sure that that's easier than if you're a podologist, because a podologist has to touch other people's feet, and maybe that's not so attractive. I mean, at least the foot model's got nice feet. Yeah.
Yeah. Hi, Ruth. Good to see you again. Thanks for joining.
Ruth. Hello.
If you're just joining us a bit late, where have you been? Where have you been? We're talking about unusual jobs.
Working.
We've already mentioned, working. We've already mentioned a few strange and unusual jobs, and we're just going through some vocabulary that might be helpful for you. Where are we? Qualifications. Yeah. The certificates you have, the courses you've done, anything you can put on your CV or resume to show that you are qualified to do a particular job or have a particular position. So obviously we've got teaching qualifications, and when you pass an exam or do a test related to your field, then you probably get a certificate, and that is a qualification.
And sometimes we use it as an adjective. So we say this is qualified work, or the opposite would be unqualified work. This is unqualified work. That means you don't need qualifications in order to do it.
Right.
Okay.
Salary and benefits. Oh, we should talk about salary and wage, because not exactly the same, are they? Salary is more formal. It's often paid by bank transfer every month into your bank account. And wage is more informal, and you might get a weekly or daily wage if you're doing casual work, like working in a bar, for example, or on a construction site. So you'd get a weekly or daily wage, and your salary is usually monthly, or as we saw before, you can be quoted a yearly salary as well.
And then we have
benefits and perks. Fringe
benefits and perks. I don't know why you said salary versus benefits and perks.
Me neither.
No, I think that's a typo. So basically, there are two other things. When you negotiate to get a new job, you often negotiate your salary, but you might negotiate as an extra specific benefits. Now, benefit does not mean salary, because in several languages, that's a false friend. Okay. But benefit means something extra. Another word for that is perk. So, for example, maybe you get free health insurance, or maybe you get a company car, or maybe you get discounts, for example.
Or if you're teaching, you get a free pen.
A free pen. Yeah, that's all we get as teachers. Well, sometimes years ago they used to bring apples for the teachers, didn't they? But no student has ever brought me an apple. They have brought me some oranges in Valencia before, I have to say, but never apples.
Never an apple.
Yeah.
So those are fringe benefits. Shift work. What professions have shifts? Well, doctors, nurses, they work in hospitals, and they may work a night shift or a weekend shift. So that's the period, the hours that you are actually working. Other shift work, well, police, they do shift work, don't they? They sometimes work at night. I'm trying to think of other professions that work.
Factories, when they have 24-hour production.
Night shift, yeah.
They have night shifts. So if there's a very lot, like 24 hours, the factory never stops, then it's shift work.
Have you ever done shift work?
When
you were milking,
I did.
Maybe.
No, I did. That was just a one-off, but I did do it as part of a kind of internship that I was doing once, but it was only for a week. And I did do a couple of night shifts. I found it really difficult. I really admire people who can actually work, like doctors and nurses who can do night shift all the time. Or people in factories, some of them do night shift all the time. I found it really hard to do night shift, to stay at work a week.
We should perhaps explain internship. If you are an intern in a company, then you are learning the profession. So maybe you've just finished university, you finished your studies, and then the company pays you very little or sometimes nothing, and you usually make the coffee and do the photocopies, but you're learning what happens in the office or wherever you're working. That's an internship.
And then we have some adjectives to describe the jobs. Hazardous. A hazardous job is a dangerous job. It's got lots of dangers involved. So hopefully you'd get paid extra if you do a hazardous job. An example would be maybe cleaning up after a nuclear disaster. Those people who had to clean up Chernobyl, for example, because Chernobyl's been in the news recently, hasn't it? Because it's the anniversary this year. And there were hundreds of people who had to do those hazardous jobs, cleaning up that
tasting dog food
radioactivity.
is quite hazardous as well.
Oh, it could be, yeah. You can also have a rewarding job. Now, that doesn't mean that it's rewarding in terms of money, but it means that it gives you lots of satisfaction. So a rewarding job is a satisfying job, one that you feel good about doing. A stressful job, I'm sure most of you know the word stress. That's one where you are a little bit overwhelmed about your job. It maybe causes you some kind of anxiety or worry because it's too difficult. Yeah. So there are about three adjectives we can apply.
Ruth said another example of a hazardous job could be working with X-rays.
Yes, definitely. X-rays,
radiation.
Ruth. R-A-Y-S,
she
not
she
rays.
corrected. She
Oh,
corrected.
rays. Oh, you did. Perfect. Lovely. X-rays.
And she gave us examples of shift work as well, doctor, nursery workers,
Yeah.
and Mia said casino workers, they do shifts, don't they?
Yes, they do, because a lot of the shifts, it's like they're open 24 hours, aren't they? The casinos, some of them. Yeah. Okay.
You might know to apply for a job. Application is the noun. So if you're interested in a position or a post, then you see it on LinkedIn. Maybe you apply for it. You ask for the job, and then if you're lucky, you get an interview. You get the job. Full-time, part-time work. When Lynn and I used to work for the academy, we were part-time teachers, so we didn't work 5 days a week, 8 hours a day. We just worked occasionally. And that's full-time or part-time. And work experience, obviously the experience you have from previous jobs, you might be asked that in the job interview along with your qualifications. So what experience do you have in this position?
Craig, maybe you can go back through the chat, because I think Vinicius was telling us about some really interesting jobs in Brazil. Yeah, he said he lives in I live in the countryside of Bahia in northeastern Brazil. And here we have moto boys. You can call one through a mobile app and someone will come by motorcycle to pick you up. So I'm guessing that's like a kind of taxi driver on a motorbike.
Like in Thailand.
I was imagining if I fancied a trip on a motorbike, to look cool, I could call a moto boy, put my leather jacket on, and then go zooming around the countryside. But I guess it's not that. But that would be a good job.
I wonder if there are any moto girls, or if it's only boys doing that job.
Yeah.
Interesting.
But, interesting. Yes, that's it's a good one.
I like the phrasal verb "pick you up," to collect
pick
you,
you up, to collect you. That's right. By vehicle. By vehicle. Right.
We looked at some descriptive adjectives.
Yeah, these were in
hazardous, rewarding, stressful. Got some more for you.
You've got, and these ones were used in the video, actually, I heard. Yeah. So weird is obviously from the title of this. Weird means strange, something that's not normal, unusual. And wacky, Craig, I'll give that one to you, because I haven't got a clear definition in my head right now.
It's used more in American English, and they did use it in the video. So it's a bit crazy, a bit out there, crazy, a bit mad, wacky.
A bit alternative. But definitely something to do with a bit crazy. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely not normal.
Yeah, unusual is just a neutral word, which means it's not the most common job. It's something a little bit different. Fascinating is positive, and that means that it's really, really interesting. So somebody who is more than interested in something is fascinated in something. So you can have a fascinating job. And bizarre also is a little bit of a synonym with weird, I think. It's a little bit strange. So, for example, in the video, when they were talking about the dog food taster, that was
bizarre,
definitely
isn't it?
bizarre. And also that, I mean, nobody's commented on it, but would you really pay a hotel extra to have someone warm your bed for you?
Depends who's warming it, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I can imagine that some people would pay extra to have somebody stay in the bed. I can imagine that.
But if you're on a tight budget.
But this job that they were describing seemed to me that somebody, before you go into your hotel room, somebody has been sleeping in your bed, and then they leave quickly so that you can enter the room and get into a warm bed. And that for me is really bizarre. I think that's really bizarre.
I must admit, no, I haven't, before you asked me, no, I haven't paid for that kind of service. But I did stay in a hotel once in quite a cold country where before we went to sleep, my wife and I, somebody came into the room when we weren't there, and they put a hot water bottle in the bed.
Oh yes, no, I've had that.
And that is lovely.
Of course, but that's what I mean. I mean, a hot water bottle in the bed, perfect.
But not a person.
But a real person.
Why would you pay a person to warm your bed? I don't get it. I don't understand.
And especially when you've got like electric blankets as well, you know? I mean, you could warm the bed with an electric blanket just the same.
Yeah.
You know, I find that really bizarre.
Very bizarre. A job can be demanding, so it asks a lot of you. A demanding job is quite difficult to do. A similar word would be challenging. You can have a challenging job, which is also quite difficult to do. Risky is maybe a little bit dangerous. If you're cleaning windows on a very high building, for example, that could be a risky job. And enjoyable, to enjoy something. You have fun. You like to do it. I think our job's quite enjoyable most of the time, Lynn.
Yeah, it is. No, definitely.
But it can be exhausting, which is tiring. We can feel quite tired when it gets towards Friday. It's quite an exhausting.
I think our viewers see that because you always see us on a Thursday night, and we're getting a little bit, we're flagging on a Thursday night. Yeah, definitely. And of course, everybody wants a well-paid job. I think everybody would like to get the maximum money. A well-paid job is one that gives you a lot of salary. But there are some jobs that are underpaid. That means they're not paid really well.
Teaching.
And there are some jobs that are adventurous, which maybe adventurous is a more positive word than risky, for example.
I think a snake milker is quite an adventurous job.
Yeah, but it could also be hazardous. Yeah, I think you use the word risky, hazardous, or dangerous, depending on the way you view the job.
Yeah.
So some people might view it as dangerous, risky, hazardous, and other people might say, "Oh, that's adventurous to be a snake milker."
Okay, well, let's go to some questions then and see what you think about different professions. Make sure you write your answer in the chat. If you haven't commented yet, please say hi. Let us know what your name is and where you are in the world. Would you prefer an interesting job or a well-paid job? Some people live for the weekends and for the holidays, and they just suffer their job from Monday to Friday. Is that you, or do you insist that your job is interesting? What would you prefer? What's your priority there? An interesting job or a well-paid job, and why? What do you think?
Are you asking me? No. I think I have to go for an interesting job, actually. And I like teaching. I think teaching can be interesting. You have to keep shaking things up a little bit. You have to keep inventing and trying out new things and looking for new material. Otherwise, it can become a bit monotonous, I think, being a teacher. But I mean, I've been teaching now for about maybe 30 years in total.
me too.
now. And I think that it's a question of your own attitude. You know, if you look for new challenges, if you look for new niches to teach, then I think I can keep it interesting. I've always managed to keep it interesting. Thank goodness. Yeah.
That's the important thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Ruth says she'd prefer an interesting job, no doubt. What do you do, Ruth? Are you working at the moment? What's your background?
Yeah.
I have a feeling that you're a teacher. Am I right?
Mm-hmm.
Tell us what you do. Vinicius says a well-paid job. He needs to achieve my dreams. That's interesting.
But that's true. It does depend what your dreams are and whether in the job that you have, you can achieve them. I mean, you said teaching is not paid very well.
It's not.
Well, yes, but I mean, we do have enough money to live on. Yeah. So I think if you have enough money to survive, then maybe
survive.
you can.
That's an interesting choice of words.
Well, survive. I mean, you go traveling, you do achieve your dreams. It pays enough for you to fulfill certain dreams that you have in life. But I mean, there are jobs that are much worse paid than teaching. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I think if you know, I can understand that. I mean, if you're in a really low paid job, then I don't think it would matter to you if it was interesting or not, because I think it's a kind of balance, you know. People reach a balance, don't they, between the two things? Well, I don't know. I think that's what I do, you know. I mean, I would agree with Vinicius. If my job did not pay enough for me to be happy, then I would definitely do something boring and repetitive to get enough money so that I could do other things in my free time. Yeah.
Some people say if you enjoy what you do, you'd never work a day in your life. I'm not sure if I agree with that, but some people do say that. Ruth's a musician. That's interesting.
Now, musicians are tricky jobs too, because I mean, it's a big field of musicians, isn't it? So like the really, really top musicians get lots and lots of money, like Taylor Swift.
And session musicians are well paid.
But many musicians really struggle to have to make it a full-time occupation. Certainly in Spain, I don't know where Ruth lives, but I know some very talented musicians in Spain, and they have real difficulty in making music pay, you know?
Yeah, true. Gemma's saying a mix of both would be the best choice, although I prefer an interesting one. Ruth was a teacher for many years. I keep only the music performing aspect.
Yes.
That's music teacher, probably.
Yeah, she was obviously a teacher, and now she just performs. And I've also had some students who've been musicians, and they've been performers and are performers, but they've been, I don't know how old Ruth is, but they were fairly young, and then they've gone into teaching because they needed teaching to be able to cover their basic needs, and then they've tried to continue as a performing artist in their spare time, because it's not easy.
Yeah, Ruth's a music teacher and was a music teacher in a music school.
Perfect.
Yeah, that would be a nice. I mean, if you're talented, I have no talent for music, but if I were talented musically, then that would be a really nice job to have.
Yeah,
very fulfilling.
Yeah.
Priscilla says she prefers an interesting job. You need to do for work something that you enjoy. I hate repetitive tasks. Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Let's go to another question.
About the artificial intelligence, I think that's a good question.
Very popular these days, isn't it? AI. It's definitely coming for many jobs. Obviously.
Maybe our viewers, because you all have different jobs, like a musician. I don't know what the rest of you do. But maybe you can tell us if you think your job that you're doing now might disappear with artificial intelligence, because they are saying that many jobs will disappear. And I think in teaching, for example, but maybe you can tell us what job you do and whether you think you can be replaced by artificial intelligence. What do you think, Craig, about us? Because there are many apps now, and there are many virtual assistants now, artificial intelligence apps on YouTube, where you can be corrected by an artificial intelligence teacher who maybe looks a bit better than us because they have some kind of nice, they're animated and everything.
Yeah.
What do you think? Do you think we will be replaced with artificial intelligence in education?
Not completely, but the teachers that will survive are the teachers that are using artificial intelligence to help their students. And I think some aspects of teaching has already been replaced and is being replaced by AI. As you said, for example, to check writing tasks, or you can speak to AI, you can have a conversation with AI. It will help you to learn vocabulary, spaced repetition apps on the phone. But I think as humans, we'll always want to have some kind of connection with other humans. So I think that will always be a part of teaching. I certainly hope it will. And kind of connected to that, I was listening to a podcast today in which two people were discussing that very thing, using music as an example. And the guy said, well, if I'm watching a film and there's this stirring emotional music, I never think, has that been created by people or by AI? It affects me emotionally if I'm watching a film, the music in the film. But I never think to myself, has that been created by a person? Or so it does its job. Music does its job. And I don't know if Ruth's going to agree with this, whether or not it's been created by a computer or whether it's been created by humans. But I don't think that's necessarily the same for writing, for example. If I'm reading something and I notice it's been created by AI, I don't have the same connection to it as I do with something that's been created and written by a person. Any thoughts?
I'm not sure. I'm not sure I agree completely with you on those points. Well, for example, I think writing, for example, you said you think that writing, you don't need a teacher to correct your writing.
No, I didn't say that. I didn't say
you didn't say that. What did you mean then?
I said you can use AI as a tool to help you improve your writing.
Yeah, you can use AI as a tool to help you improve your writing, definitely. But I do think, because I'm doing a lot of work on writing with different students who want to improve their writing. And the thing is, writing is a form of communication, and like speaking. And yes, there's a technical part of it, which is the words and the grammar and the vocabulary and the punctuation. But ultimately, good communication does a job which is to persuade or to convince or to explain, or the communication has many different purposes. And you do not communicate in a vacuum. And even though the AI can reproduce something that is approaching the communication, because it predicts, and there's lots of examples which it's using, there's lots and lots of examples of similar texts which it's using in order to predict what you want to say. But it will never have the impact, because the communicative need is not by the AI. The communicative need comes from a speaker, and it's reaching, the message has to reach particular human beings, particular audiences. And on the basis of who is producing the communication and who is receiving the communication, that is what determines the communication. And that is human. They're humans on both sides of it. So I do think that the AI will help us for, I don't know, please buy this, put it in your basket. We already have lots of automated communication. When we buy something on Amazon, we have automated responses, but they are very transactional things. But the real communication between people, I think, in writing or in speaking, it needs another human being in that mix to show you how to do that, to help you achieve your voice, I think.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't think we're going to agree on this, but
No.
I certainly see where you're coming from, and also it's important to remember that it's never going to be as bad as it is now. So I'm predicting, but by the end of the year,
Yeah, that's true.
it will
It'll
be
be a lot
almost
better.
impossible to know if it's been written by a human or if it's been written by AI. Let's look at some of these comments. Enrique says some jobs will disappear, others will be created.
I think that's true.
Yeah, the question is the balance. Will there be enough created to compensate for the ones that will be disappearing? We don't know yet. Ruth, quality teaching cannot be replaced by AI. Yay! Thank you, Ruth.
She didn't say us, Craig. She just said in general.
She's probably talking about music teaching.
Craig is desperate for a compliment.
I am. It's impossible to replace Bach by AI. I agree with that, Ruth, but I also think that it is possible to replace the feeling you get when you listen to Bach by music that's been written by AI. It's like art, isn't it? You can go to a museum, you can see a painting, a picture of something that's been painted by a human, and it touches you, it speaks to you, you appreciate it emotionally. But if that's been created by AI, it still has the same effects. And maybe you don't know if it's been created by AI or been created by a human. And I do think that AI is creative.
No,
Priscilla.
I disagree with that completely. AI is not creative.
How do you describe creativity?
I'll tell you what. Well, this is going to be. We haven't got time now, but there is a.
It's just getting interesting.
We're just getting interesting. There is a video. I advise you to look at it on BBC. It's called Bayesian reasoning. Bayesian reasoning. And that is what AI does. AI works on predicting outcomes based on previous learning experience. So AI is literally learning from experience. So it takes a base level, it creates something, then we see how that's working. And then from there, we go to the next level and the next level and the next level. But that has a huge flaw in it, in my opinion, and that is there is never really a base level, because whatever you start with has some kind of human bias in it, and what you end up doing is propagating the bias. True creativity is discovering something new. That isn't what that is doing. Is it's working on probability all the time. They make in the video, they make this differentiation between the original meaning of science. So science, the original, is like to try to be completely objective. So you have lots and lots of criteria, you do the experiment, and then it's supposed to represent what happens with those criteria. But AI doesn't work like that. AI takes things that have already existed, and then probability, it will tell you what the next thing is, and probability, it will tell you what the next thing is, which is the way humanity often works, but it's not the only way that humanity works. Humanity also works with people like Bach that come and create something completely different that nobody's ever thought of before. And I'm not sure that AI can do that.
It can. It can. And there's some scary experiments happening. There's a company called, I think it was Anthropic, that were experimenting with AGI, which is giving AI agency to do things. And they gave it a task, and it did something unpredictable. It went outside the kind of box that they created for it, and it set up a company by itself.
Mm-hmm.
And it did things that the scientists or the computer programmers didn't expect.
Well, it didn't expect, but you don't know if
think
it's
that's
totally
creativity.
new.
Well, it was being inventive and creative, which I think is what I think that's what creativity is. It's doing something unexpected, creative, not going down a traditional path, not using the data that it's been inputted with. It's not working anymore like a calculator. It's thinking outside the box, which is, I think, creative. But anyway, maybe we should have a conversation another week, Lynn, about this, because I think it's fascinating.
Ruth wants me to put it in the chat, but unfortunately, I can't access the chat. The link to the BBC, it's a BBC, if you put in the Google, BBC 5-minute video, Bayesian reasoning.
Bayesian?
Bayesian reasoning. Can you, because you can put things in the chat, can't you, Craig? Can you find it? It's a 5-minute video. Bayesian reasoning.
Never heard of it. Bayesian reasoning.
Yeah,
I think what is Bayesian? Yeah, I think.
What is Bayesian? So if you can put that in the chat, and then the rest of you can have a look at it and then see what you think.
Okay. Well, let's finish then just by sharing some of the comments we've been getting. Just let me put that in the chat for you. But I think it is a very relevant and interesting conversation. We should expand that and speak about it another week. So there we are. BBC.com, Bayesian reasoning. Vinicolas says, I'm a software engineer. I know many professionals who've been unemployed for months or even over a year. Yeah, because of vibe programming. Yeah, they're being discarded. Yeah, if you're not going to go along with AI and try and use it as much as possible.
But that's difficult.
It isn't creative. Oh, you've got somebody on your side there. Vinicius is on your side. We should have a debate. Let's have a debate next time and see where people are on this. But it's not perfection yet. I think it's getting there, though, Ruth. I think we're going to see it soon.
Well, we could have another debate, Ruth, on is perfection human?
Although I
would disagree. We don't want perfection. We want quirkiness, wackiness.
I'm also reluctant about AI. And Enrique, creative and art are inherent to human beings. I agree with that. Yeah. Any other comments? Yeah, Vinicius is on your side, that's for sure. Okay.
Yeah. All right.
Oh, that link hasn't gone in. That's a shame.
Has it not?
One more time. No.
Well, I can see it.
You can see it? Oh, okay. Cool.
In Mansión Inglés. Yeah. I can see it. And it's,
Okay, good.
I think, yes, it's gone in. It's gone in twice.
I'll put it in one more time, just in case. Okay, unfortunately, we've run out of time. Thank you for keeping us company. It's been lovely to see everybody. Why don't we finish by saying where we're from and how people can follow up with us? If you want more of Lynn, and why wouldn't you? You can find her on putitlikethis.com.
That's right. I'll keep it short. Just go to putitlikethis.com. And then if you're interested, I leave it to you to find out. Yeah. We don't need to do AI and tell people what to do we? You just go to the website and have a look and then see. There's no AI on my website as far as I know. So it might be a little bit unprofessional now.
And although I sometimes use AI to help me design my conversation classes, if you want some human connection, go to englishcraig.com, join one of my courses, and I promise you there will be no AI models in the group. It's just a small group of motivated students who want to improve their speaking. englishcraig.com. Thank you, everybody, for listening, and we'll see you next time. Take care, everybody.
Yes. Take care. Bye-bye. Bye.
Bye.